We're back.
We're back, y'all. Part
Hello.
two. Oh my goodness. We've been having amazing, amazing discussions with Miss Richlynn, who is here with us again. I'm going to just remind y'all about the word of the day before we get back into the discussion because y'all need to do your homework, okay? So the yeah, the word of the day, we're not going to answer it. Check out part one if y'all want to see what we decided, how it resonated with us. Check part one. But I'm going to read it for y'all so y'all can do your own personal homework. There is hope even when your brain tells you there isn't. Leave your comments below in the comment section. Let us know what that means in your current life. Okay, now we're getting back into discussion. Azali, you ready for this discussion again?
I'm ready. I got my serious face on and I'm keeping my brain focused.
Because Miss Richland is dropping gems and teaching us some things about the space of social work and mental health. And we're really, really excited about what we're learning. I had a question that I wanted to just kick it off with, which
Okay.
is about how you approach or use methods to approach people that are having challenges in parenting.
Mhm.
Because I'm a parent myself.
Transparent
Azali's a parent
moment.
herself. Okay. Yeah. Azali's a parent. I'm a parent. Parenting be hard sometimes. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with the reality of things like generational traumas in our different backgrounds, but also as Black people, that can play a lot into how parenting shows up in the world. So how do you address parenting issues with compassion, but also with this measure of healing and move toward healing?
Okay. Well, as we know, there has never been a child born with a manual that says,
I didn't
this
get
is
one.
what you do. This is my temperament. This
Yeah.
will be the choices I will make when I'm
Yeah.
10, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
we're all figuring it out as we go, as well as learning as much as we can, either before having a child and even during and after, right?
Yes.
So the parenting challenge could be a vast um, variety of things. Is it a matter of being able to connect to the child? Is it a matter of not understanding the child's personality or even clashing with the child's personality? So it could be a variety
Mm.
of things. It could just be, how do I manage having another child in the home? Or how do I even manage having the one child in the home? Because I either have limited help or not sufficient resources available.
Yeah.
So it's a broad question, and it
Yeah.
depends specifically on what's happening. But I believe that over the years of experience, it's just allowing parents, fathers, mother, grandparents. I have a lot of grandparents that are raising children,
Mm.
raising their grandchildren, is allowing them a safe space to express and to share what's challenging for them, right?
Mm.
Because if you're dealing with a grandparent, the way they parent is different than the way the current generation are expecting to be parented. So there's
Yeah.
a clash. So it's trying to help them to have a place to learn about each other with respect and to meet somewhere in the gray area in the middle, right?
Mm. Yeah.
And the issues that children are facing now, or the fast pace of information that they have access to, plays a big part in their behavior, in their desire to even have a meal together, or to maybe respond appropriately to their caregivers. So it's a matter of knowing that everyone is on even ground as far as when you come into this space, but how can we negotiate? How can we see the value in what's needed or has to be done? And just help them along those lines and learning how to do it.
Yeah. Future Risers, one of the things we talked about in another episode was exposure. A lot of what's impacting us, influencing us, and sometimes tying us down is exposure. It's how much I'm exposed to a thing, it's how often, and then it's how I process the amount of that exposure. And sometimes it is wise to, when you know that you hear or see or practice something that has not been beneficial, sometimes you got to drop that thing like the worst habit ever. And you got to bring that exposure down from 100 to at least half. Yeah, you got to back out of that thing sometimes the best way you can, because it's not serving you well. So, that's what I hear when Miss Richlynn was talking. And let me do a shout out to the grandparents out there, that whether by choice or not, that you came back in to pick up the slack.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't give you all kudos, but here on Raised Voices, we send you a hug, we send you a salute, and we say thank you.
Thank you.
You didn't have to, but you did. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because I forgot about that. When I was thinking parenting, I didn't think grandparents coming back, right, to pick up today's generation. So that's a good reminder for me to make sure when I see that occurring, to thank that person, whether I know them or not. Because that's not easy. You've already done your part. You put your sweat, your blood was left on the field, and now you got to come back and do that again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm grateful at the same time. So thank you. Okay. Because
I gotta follow up.
Go ahead.
And it's one of those type of questions that you asked in the last episode that I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I should, but I'm gonna ask it.
Do it. No.
Okay. So we just mentioned like the various circumstances that affect parenting, and no one was given a manual on the type of child that you would have and how you would be able to interact with them. So it's a lot of just learning on the fly, adjusting, being flexible, all of that.
Yes.
Do you ever get instances where there are families that feel like we just don't fit together? Like families, like parent child, that's like, we're not, even though we are mother and daughter, mother and son, or father and daughter, whatever, it just ain't clicking, and then in those cases, how do we navigate those kind of experiences?
She's doing it out of the box, people. That's how I hey, she know I like these.
Yeah. I'm saying it from the standpoint because it's often like what's put ahead of these kind of questions is we're family, we don't got to talk about that. That's just too deep, too in the weeds. But it's a reality, right? I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with someone going to work, right? It may not be the best fit, or even in a classroom setting, you may have a professor or a teacher that, I'm not feeling this, right? Or their technique or a style of teaching, I'm not quite getting it. So the same for family, but then it goes back to what you were said. It's like, well, I was born into this family. What am I going to do? But just in any other relationship, there sometimes two people just do not get along. They just do not clash, whether it be personality, whether it be the sense of hierarchy, and you're telling me what I have to do, and you have a child that's of a different demeanor that says no one is going to tell me what to do. So it clashes, right? And then as a child, you're not able to say or to make decisions to leave or not be there. So you have to figure out how do we work it out. But you're not thinking as a child, oh, I I'm clashing because we do not get along, right? It's
No.
usually the parent is saying, well, you're not doing what I said, or you're not
Yeah.
listening, or you need to maybe get some help here because you're not following what I'm saying. Um,
Mm,
but a big part of it goes back to how do you educate both parties or all parties to know that you are of value to each other, and that the things that are coming up, whether it be the temperament or the mood or the ability to follow directions, is a part of someone's character, right? And how to help someone maybe look at it a little differently. It's
mm,
not that the child did not hear you and did not turn off the game or do the dishes right away, right? But it was that they were in the middle of something, and just out of courtesy, you can allow them, okay, in 10 minutes,
mm.
it's time to turn that off because you have to do your chores, right? Giving them that grace, giving them that sense of respect, right? Versus you do what I say when I say, and that's it. And right, that's going to bring up in a child or anyone, right? Think of
Yeah.
someone in a workplace. Your
Yeah.
supervisor say, you better do it, da 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 da. Something is going to rise up in you,
Oh,
Oh,
right?
oh
yes.
yeah.
So the same thing happens with a child. So it's
Yeah.
just being
Wow.
able to help them to understand, because a parent is coming in saying, well, I have to do it that way, so you're going to do it that way.
Mm,
But this generation is saying,
Mhm.
right? So how
That's
do
mm.
we
exactly what they
communicate?
saying.
They-
You know what? I want to put two plugs here because what you said is so powerful. I don't want it to go over the heads of those who listen to us. But there's two things. One, I think that one thing we have lost in most families, not all, because some families they just know what they doing. Oh, they know. Um, is the family meetings.
Mm,
Get that back,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
I think that is missing from most, or it gets started and it stops, right? Or we kind of fall off, like,
yeah.
the New Year
Get
resolution.
lost in the busyness.
It gets
yeah.
lost in the busyness. But I am really referring to family meetings that's not, like you said, the parent giving a list of things of what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, but that there be a discussion
Yeah,
that each
Come
family
on.
member can say, well, Dad, my game is on Friday at 2 o'clock. I am hoping you're able
right,
to make it. But if not, can we have grandma meet us there? Because I just want to make sure I have someone there. And so it be that that's a
Yeah.
participation for them, right?
yeah,
That
yeah,
Wow.
we have a
yeah,
backup plan that I'm going to feel my family is there for me to do my best, for me to show off,
right.
my stuff.
Mm,
Versus the parent just like, okay, well, I might be there at 2 o'clock at your game, but just go do your game and do well and make us proud. Yeah, that's a whole different kind of.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. I
Right.
mean, the
That's good. That's
key
good.
the key thing about mental health or therapy is allowing everyone to have a voice, right? And allowing everyone to know that they have a voice. Not everyone knows that they have a voice. Not everyone
Mm,
is able to share that voice. And
Yes.
yeah.
what I mean by voice doesn't mean that everything I think or feel I have to say it or wear it on my sleeve, right? But to be able to use the example that Ms. Azalee said, is that, Mom, do you remember I have a game? And if we do it this way, then you're rushing or you'll miss the game. Can we rearrange this? Or can you miss my brother's game and come to mine because you
Yes.
missed mine last time? To
Yes.
know that there's
Mm,
a safe
wow.
space to say that. Not
Yeah.
everyone has that,
Yes.
right? And
Negotiation. Yeah. Yeah.
negotiation and just knowing that, that oh, you make sense.
That's true.
You're five,
Yeah.
but you make sense. I wasn't thinking about that,
I didn't
right?
think about that.
Because
Mm,
back to one of the questions that was asked earlier, is it's so important to know that a child has um, a voice, yes, but there's information there that we as
mm,
adults need to learn from them,
Mhm.
They are given to us not by a oops, right? They were given to us and assigned to us for specific reasons. There's
Wow.
things in them, and because of who they are, that's going to come out with that interaction. So yes, there may be a clash,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if you can get to a place with help, whether it be a counselor, whether it be the pastor, whether it be a community, whether it be mama or nana across the street,
Yes.
to be able to be involved, to say, that child speaks a lot. I think we can use that in the sound room, right? Or they may be part of the drama or the debate team,
Yes.
right? Things that you may miss because you're caught up in they're talking too much. They're talking too much. But that can be utilized elsewhere to help to
Wow.
build the child and the parent relationship.
Yeah.
That's
I
beautiful.
agree with that so much. And
Yeah.
the connector to what you're saying is everything's not on the parent in terms of how the child turns out. I want to be real careful what I'm going to say. I'm going to be careful. Y'all can come from if you want, but I'm still going to be careful because I'm not messy. I don't do messy. Okay. Everything is not on the parent for how the child turns out because there are other factors. But I believe, since I am a parent, that there's certain things I have to show up doing before I require that of my children in consistency. Now, notice what I said, require it in consistency, not just require it. So if I'm a person who's telling them to be on time, but I'm always late, excuse
You still doing your makeup in your car.
I'm just saying, excuse me, like you are preaching that and it is not going to be received because mom
Right.
should have been on time. So I'm just saying, like, stuff like that we think is little, that's already teaching a behavior. You might think that's a simple thing, that's not no big thing. But what happened when you want them to show up for something that is important, that affects their destiny, their education, just their
Yeah.
everyday life, and you didn't even model that well
Right. Yeah.
at all. And then you're requiring this of the child, and you end up just kind of preaching to them, but you're not showing any practical demo of that. Then you're gonna
Yeah.
have some problems. Y'all not
Yeah.
gonna get along with certain things. So that's something I want you guys to keep in mind, that while as parents, human beings, role models, mentors, we're not responsible for everything that happens to those that are connected to us. But it would be better for us to show up doing the things that we require of others. We might get further. We may.
Yeah. And it's okay to not know something.
Oh yes, ma'am.
But to ask for help.
Yes.
To ask for help.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's okay to say I'm sorry.
Ooh, no.
Okay.
Okay.
You need a sheet or something?
I'm just saying, that was a moment. I knew it was gonna come out sometime, but I caught it. It's gonna go over certain people's head. But those of you who caught it, I am not ashamed.
Oh my gosh. This is such a rich discussion. Especially because you touch on this openness that is needed to regard other perspectives and other ways of being. I want to talk about something that is usually spoken about in terms of like the loss of a loved one, right?
Yeah.
Death, but it also applies to moments of the loss of what the idea or the dream of someone you want, like the dream person you wanted someone to be for you, right? The loss of that.
Yeah.
Grief, which is grief. And so how does grief play a role in this aspect of parenting? And we're two different it's not feeling like it's clicking. I have an idea of what I need. You have an idea of what you need. How do we put those to rest and grieve those things before we can actually really have that accepting, unifying experience with each other?
Okay. I would say just paying attention to the basic definition of what grief is. What is grief? Just deep sorrow.
Mm,
Just deep sorrow, right? I expected that my relationship would go this way, but it went that way, right? And I feel deeply sorrow about it, right? Or I'm experiencing sorrow as a regard to it. So if we can, I guess, demystify what grief is, right? It would help more of us to be able to embrace that I am experiencing grief and that it is okay. It is a part of the human experience, right? So it would start from the earliest sense of loss. A child may be having to change classes or schools in the middle of the school year, right? That's a sense of loss, right? Allowing them to experience it, acknowledge that it's happening, know that they may be then exhibiting some behaviors because they may not have the words to say, I'm feeling grief that I left
yeah.
Miss Jones's class, but it may come out in the form of behavior. So I think just allowing just the basic definition to be something that is there, then people would know that, okay, it's okay. I am experiencing grief that I did not get that promotion. I am experiencing grief that I thought that you were going to be accepted to the best school in the neighborhood, but now you have to stay back to repeat math.
Yeah.
Whatever it
Yeah.
is, just
Yeah.
allowing it to not be something that is so far-fetched, but it is a part of the human experience. I think that that is just the beginning, right? And we can always touch on the various stages of grief,
Stages.
but if you know that this is normal. This is what I'm feeling, right? It may be coming out in the form of anger, but with some talking, with some support, with some guidance, with some listening from whomever, you can tackle it down to identify that, okay, I'm grieving.
Mm,
Never thought of
beautiful.
that example of the child, wow, leaving so-and-so class as an
Mhm.
example of them experiencing grief. Oh my goodness, like I gotta go back and do homework right now.
Mm,
Because I know a lot of children who their parents had to move for various reasons. And so
Yeah.
they're kind of school hopped quite a bit
Mhm.
in their young life.
Right. Right.
I didn't think of there being a grieving period within the wow. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
gotta
it will
make
show up.
yeah,
It
I
will
gotta make
show
some phone calls.
up.
I gotta talk to some of my friends. I'm like, we miss this. Yeah. Because we think that the child is okay. But as I think back, you're right. There has been some regression in those that I know. And I know about 4 right now. And there has been some regression, but I never connected it to the kids, and the regression is in the child in terms of education, but I never, because they moved schools.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm wide awake now.
So I'm not sure if I answered your questions,
Oh, you
Mrs.
did.
Down,
Yeah,
but
you did. Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yes, you
yeah.
did.
So future
Beautiful.
risers, when we say grief, it is not only physical death.
yes.
It is a removal or a loss of some type or something missing that allows sadness to get deeper into its other shape of sorrow.
Right. Grief of an idea, right? Grief of a belief that you've held on to for so long.
Yes.
Yeah.
The list is endless.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But that's huge. I want to touch on addiction issues for a moment because we would be remiss if we didn't just touch on it. I know most people talk about mental health or mental issues or mental problems. And most of the time they said, oh, well, that person has an addiction issue because they have a mental illness of some type. Um, what are your findings with the clients that you have walked the journey with? Do you agree that is it the mental illness that came first and then the addiction? Was it the addiction that exacerbated the mental healthness? Like, what are you seeing, or what have you seen in the clients that have come and touched base with you or connected to you?
Okay. Well, in most cases, addiction stems from, for example, grief not being addressed, right? So general life issues, if not addressed, if not cared for, if not attended to, will lead to most people finding a way to ease or suppress the pain.
Ease or suppress.
Right? So a drug or taking a drink is going to help to put that issue behind you because of the euphoria that someone may be experiencing for a few minutes or a few hours. But most of the time, it's some type of loss, some type of pain, in my experience, some type of trauma or abuse that was not fully addressed or dealt with long enough, that then leads to a place of, oh, okay, this makes me feel a little something, right?
Yeah.
And it slowly progresses into some type of an addiction. So it depends on who you ask, the chicken or the egg, which comes first, right?
True.
But
True.
most of the time, no one necessarily says, oh, I'm going to go smoke or drink out of a place of, oh, this is going to help my future, right? It's out of a place of some type of a pain, right? Peer pressure, or at times some type of a curiosity. But it's something that's used because of something deeper going on inside.
Wow. Let me put a plug here that also when we are saying the term addiction on Raised Voices, we're also talking about anger. Anger can be an addiction. Or you get angry and then you would just keep getting angry, and then instead of trying to get rid of the anger, you can go deeper into that thing. Some people wear that anger like a coat, everyday coat. So we're talking about various things. When we say addiction, we're not just talking about substance abuse, but we're talking about even certain behaviors that you know is not a good behavior for you to have, or good character for you to wear.
Right.
But you take it on, and like Ms. Richlynn says, it is a way of escape from something deeper that you have work to do on. Not us, you. You have work to do on, because there's so much saving that your community can do. There is so much saving that the professionals can do. But guess who got to save who? Eventually, you. With all the help, with all the advice, with all the access and all the resource. That final saving, got to make that choice. Got to agree to it, or none of it takes root. All right, Ms. Sound, what's your last one? And then I have one last one, and then we're going.
Sure. This is it's just bouncing off that last question about addiction. I often really kind of like my compassionate lens about addiction is really, and let me know if I'm just, this is not going deep enough, but I see it as a mechanism that we from young learn, which is self-soothing, right? Learning how to soothe yourself when things are hard, when you're little, sucking your thumb or having a blanket to really kind of really make you regulate your emotions, and not knowing how to do that, or not having self-soothing techniques in your life will kind of lead to finding things to escape for a moment. So do you have any self-soothing techniques that people can actually use in their life Not to say to eradicate, addiction, because that is something that takes a long time to really kind of talk through, work through, heal through. But just like the general light things that people try to escape or avoid, what can they do to self-soothe themselves?
Self-awareness, I would say, is very important. Not because of someone's age means that they are aware of what works for them, right?
True.
So if we're speaking about something in the moment, something like just being mindful of where your hands are, like during this meeting, I tend to, you know, hold my hands, right? That's a way that I'm soothing myself. Or someone can just rub their hands along their thigh, right? It helps you just to remind yourself, okay, I'm here. I may be experiencing something here or in my thoughts, but it helps you to bring you back to being grounded where you are, right? So just knowing what works for you. For example, am I thirsty? Right?
Mhm.
Getting a drink of water, right, can help someone to bring them back to a place of being more regulated, right?
Mm,
Am I too hot? Asking yourself, the temperature okay? Or am I comfortable in my clothing? Things that
mm,
may seem simple or be overlooked, but it plays a big part. Am I warm enough in what I'm wearing? Right? Things
mm,
like that would help someone to just check in with themselves and be regulated as a start.
mm.
Like it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That's great. I'm gonna have to figure out if I have any of those other than working out. I'm annoyed at you. I am going to go work out. It is my time.
Yeah, those are starters.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. So one big one that might be a little complicated, but you take it from whatever avenue. And perhaps if we have made you feel welcome, you'll come back again so we can keep so we can keep
Okay,
see future
will
rise
do.
trying to book these people again and again. You see, I'm trying to do it on air.
Yeah.
But I often hear stress, anxiety, and depression use interconnected, interrelated. And I know this, I'm not asking you to give me a complete answer, but for the clients that come to you, is there a difference between someone who is just dealing with anxiety versus stress versus depression, or are they all similar and therefore the same?
Hmm. I would say that they're on a spectrum, meaning that there's a starting point to some extent, and there's a point where someone may not be able to function properly in society or in their homes, right? Taking care of their families. So I know we're talking about someone who's, let's say, having a stressful day,
Yeah.
right? Versus someone who may have a mental health diagnosis,
Yes.
but it still has a beginning point. So if someone has a tendency to, let's say, react a certain way with the anger, as you mentioned, or the raising of the voice during stressful situations, those are opportunities for them to learn, how can I better manage it, right?
Mhm.
But the fact that it's happening is not a bad thing. It's just information for you about yourself. Okay, I get overwhelmed in this scenario, right? Maybe the bus was too crowded. Maybe I need to leave earlier in the day so that I would not have to then rely on the bus driver's ability to speed to get me to where I'm going. So that's information, right? Then you have someone else on the other end of the spectrum whose way of coping for various reasons, their ability to comprehend, their understanding, their genetics, Are they eating well? Do they have safety at home? Have they grown up in an environment where they felt safe that has led them to a place of having, quote unquote, a mental health diagnosis? There's a difference. So their ability to be on the bus, a specific person, is going to be different than someone else who is, okay, I'm on the bus, I'm a little stressed, versus I'm on the bus and I'm a little stressed, has led me to react in a different way, right?
Ah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
that makes sense. And I do love that you did that connection, because we always want our audience to understand that there's relevancy in each of these conversations that's applicable in everyday life. So we don't want to talk over anybody's heads. We
Yeah.
want to talk, eye level to eye level, and let's just see how much we can gain from the conversations that we all can walk away and do some homework and apply. So I do love, I love that so much. And Future Risers, I really want you to take this conversation serious. As you know, we have been bringing different personal development options and conversations and professionals for you to understand that we have options. I know everyone's talking about post-COVID and things are still not on track. I want you to understand this. The world will forever be changing, but you forever have options if you can just see.
Yeah.
You got to see. You can't pick up nothing that you can't see. So just know we have options. And so this is why we're being very careful with our conversations. And we're selecting those who come and have the conversations with us. And we're making sure that these people that come to talk with us, our folks, as we call them, they're doing the work. They're doing the work. They're doing the work way, 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 way before they came here to speak to you. So please respect the conversation, respect the origin where it's coming from, and do something with it, because nothing changed if you're still sitting down.
I mean, I would like to say that we know when something is not working well for us. We know, right?
Yeah.
I'm stressed. Okay. I'm stressed again this Monday. Okay. It's 3 months now. I'm still stressed every Monday. That's information,
Yeah.
right? You have your girlfriends, you have your partner, you have YouTube, you have Raising Voice podcast.
Yeah.
You're getting the information. You're questioning yourself at that point. What is going on? Right? Then it's important to now do something about it, right? We are designed in such a way that we know when something is off balance, right? We have to pay attention to it. That's why there are headaches, right? That's why there are racing hearts. That's why there are aches, pains. That's why there's a sense of grief. It's there to give us information. It's not there to harm us. It's there to give us information, right? And to help us to be a support to each other, right?
Yeah.
To help point out some things that, I noticed this about you. Have you thought about this, or have you considered this? So that we can be helpful to each other.
Beautifully said.
I'm
Beautifully said.
just trying to tell you, I need my high five. Lovely. All right, Miss Sound, rise and fall.
Right.
Take us out.
All right. Y'all, this has been an amazing discussion with Miss Richlynn. We have gotten so much from you. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us
It's
and
my
talking with us.
pleasure.
Yeah. We are going to end off our podcast for today with this ending reflection called Rise and Fall. And so what we like to do is just replay what we talked about in our minds. Just kind of go back again in our minds of what did we talk about today? And we like to split our reflections of today into two categories. One, which is rise, and that is, what did I hear today that resonates with me, and I will continue to let that rise in my life. And then there's fall, which is, what did I come in believing, but after this conversation, I'm no longer going to have that in my life. I'm gonna bury that. I'm gonna start because I feel like mine is right here on my
Go ahead, go ahead. It's right there. Get it.
What you just said about the body being able to give you information and not, I'm gonna let rise. Don't ignore the signs that your body gives you. Don't seek the first the first thing people want to do when that uncomfortable feeling comes up is suppress or avoid or just try to ignore.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm going to continue to let rise is it's telling you something for a reason. It's here for your protection. And so listen to it or have someone help you hear it the right way.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And then what I'm going to let fall, I think is I think what I'm gonna let fall is that life will present, like, I used to think that there are instances in life that will be perpetually just peaceful and without chaos and without any any trouble. But what you're telling us in the conversation today was that at any moment, a little stressor could just trigger something. And so I need to be more aware that you're always going to be on this journey of healing. It's not just one time, one and done. We're always
Yeah.
healing. We're always evolving. So that's
Wonderful.
mine. Miss
Great.
Richlynn, I want to ask you, what is your rise? And then what are you just burying after this?
Okay. My rise is that I would say I will continue to build on my empathy, my skills, and my ability to do the work. I know that it's needed. I know that it at times can be challenging, but I know that I'm not alone in this journey. I have as much resources available to me. I have supportive people around me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to continue to do what it is that I feel led to do with my clients, and know that they're individuals in given to me for whatever amount of time, right? Whether they come, they see me, and they say, mm-mm, or they stay with me for a while. That I want to leave an impact on them.
Beautiful.
And what I will leave, right? Is that it? What I
Yeah,
will
leaving the dust. We're not touching that anymore.
that this is a journey. I have to always kind of remember that even though I may not be able to help someone to get to the point that they would like to get to, or I may see that that would be best for them, that it's okay. Just to remind myself of that, it's okay to have the right perspective and mindset, that even if I just give them one seed, that it's okay, and to keep doing what I can. I do not have to do it all. I cannot do it all.
Ooh.
Just say, let me just,
Yeah.
it's doing good. I gotta
Can't
work
do it all, won't do it all.
Listen, we like when you hit the ground. Wow, so much is in my mind from this conversation, but I would say my rise is, I'm just kind of on the grandparents right now. I don't know why that one stuck with me, but my rise is going to be to acknowledge those who are doing double duty again. Again, like they did it already. I don't care if they did it well or not the first time, but they're back and they're doing it again. So my rise is to really start to open my eyes to see those people. And if I have the opportunity to thank them, to do it, even as a stranger, whether I know them or not, just to do that, because it might do something for them to let them know that they're seeing, and it's not from somebody who know them, but I can still see it. Like
Right.
like that one's sticking with me today because I just kind of forgot about that. So, so I feel a responsibility there. And my fall is, as you said, Miss Richlynn, that when you are raising children or interacting with children that are of a different generation than you, do not minimize what stresses them to not be stressed.
Yeah.
It can very well be because, as you said, they're not thinking the way I'm thinking.
Mhm.
So don't dismiss it. Have a conversation about it and see if we can get to some type of middle ground that allows both of us to feel heard. So I'm gonna stop dismissing other generations or ages of children and thinking, well, you ain't got nothing to be stressed about, baby. But they do, because it's the way they're thinking. Like you said, it's from the neck up, right? In terms of the mental
Yeah.
health issues. So if they're thinking that way and they're calling something stress, I need to investigate further and not just dismiss it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
let that fall.
Love that.
So, Ms. Sound, what is the invitation to the people as we wrap up?
Well, people, thank you for listening again. We just want y'all to know that we would love for y'all to join the CASA. Just tell more people about the CASA. Tell more people about Raised Voices. Subscribe to the channel. We are on all your favorite podcast platforms. We are on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. We are on YouTube. So you can comment, you can like, share. Please join us on this journey of growth, resilience, and we are gonna celebrate too. We're gonna be celebrating at the CASA. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, you guys know. Let me hear y'all say your potential is. I'll wait. Limitless. You got a basket on the way. I'm still for a basket. Don't you dare judge me. It's what I can afford.
Yeah.
And your growth is, let me hear, boundless. Look at that. It is not multiple choice, but it is open.
One answer.
Right, one answer. But it is open book. I want y'all to stay inspired. I'm still asking you to stay inspired. I'm not going to stop. I ain't going to stop. Stay empowered on a positive side. If you're doing anything that's hurting you, that is not empowerment. That's something else. Not what I'm asking you for. Find some kind of positive. Find it, look for it, search for it, seek it out, find it, apply it, and keep thriving. So I want you to survive, but I want you to build something above survival that says I'm thriving. Because what? I'm dreaming, I'm touching something different, I'm trying to break out, I'm trying to move on. That's what thriving is. So that's what we want you to do today. And Ms. Sound, what are they to remember?
Remember to raise your voice, to edify, encourage, uplift, but
Don't. We didn't say you can't. We said do not. Don't resist. Don't do it. Back away. Don't raise your voice to annihilate, to tear down, to destroy. Don't do it. Don't raise your voice just to be negative. You're better than that. You're bigger than that. And you got stuff to do that's just bigger than negativity. Don't let that peer pressure tell you you need to be different in order to fit in. Be different to be on the out layer because you got work to do and only you can do it. I want you to be good to you. To you. Okay, I know you're being good to your brother and your sister. That's not what I said. Continue that, but be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Especially today. I know I say that every time. That's because it's a brand new day, new mercies, new grace, new opportunities, new ideas, new you, hopefully. So today's your day to be kind and good to you. We want you to come back next episode. We have some special conversation for Mother's Day and for Father's Day. We want you to honor those who are mothers and fathers, whether they're that biologically, they mean that to you, and they're not blood. We still want you in the building to listen and to share. Listen, we love y'all. We don't just say that. We ain't them kind of females. Huh? We do not say that to everybody. But we do love you guys because we believe that you have been assigned to us to walk it out and not just talk it out.
Mhm.
You guys have a brilliant day. We'll see y'all soon. Miss Richlynn gonna come back. I don't know when, but I'm gonna handle it off air. I'm gonna
And
handle
thank
it
you.
off air.
Thank you both for allowing me the opportunity just to share my experiences. Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Me
And you're
too.
gonna be back because you're part of the family casa.
Yes, you are. Yes.
Future Risers, have a great day. See you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.